Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Marcus Aurelius, and this is Dominions 4, The Thrones of Ascension, my Nation Showcase Mini on the new nation, Ragha. Let me just start by saying I make it very clear in all of my videos that I am not an expert at Dominions 4, but I am fortunate enough to have many people who follow my channel who know a lot more than I do. So let me share a little bit of the wisdom that they have given me in the channel. Starting with Chris Lighthawk. Chris feels that the elephants that you can recruit are a superb choice for expansion because they have protection 18, which is very high for an elephant, and they have long spears, which can repel. He feels that 10 of them to start off with can pretty much beat any independent province. And I tested them a little bit in my playing, and I found that to be the case. They are very tough, they are very strong, they do quite well. He also suggested, along with Wither Soul Iron Battle Axe, that I am discounting the power of the Kalem units, specifically their magical weapons, which are good at repelling, but also are good against ethereal troops or thugs that are using air and astral magic, as it can get through their defenses, mistform, ethereal. So that's a good point. You definitely want to recruit these guys if you're facing a lot of opposition where magical weapons would be worthwhile. And then finally, there was Dr. Quacksalver, who brought up that these gentlemen, the Zaydens, all it would take is 2 of them, led by one of the flying Kalem priests, and a good bless, like for example a Water 9 bless, which gives you quickness and high defense, or a Nature 9 bless, which gives you regeneration and a lot of extra hit points. Or he said even a Earth 4 Nature 9 bless would probably be a good idea. That gives you some reinvigoration as well. And just 2 of those guys, he said, would be able to take out many small province defenses. So there you have it. If you were to play this nation, you could expand pretty readily with a small outlay of troops. But let's do what I said I was going to do and show you the summonable creatures. Let's first take a look at the national summons here. We start off with Herd of Elephants and Ambush of Tigers that many nations can summon, so we're not even going to look at those. And as you get further down, starting at level 5 Conjuration, you'll notice there's 2 tracks of units that you can summon. There's the, for lack of a better term, the good units that require astral and some water magic, and then there's the evil units that require death and fire. There's the Yazatas, the Ahurani, the Devas, the Jahi, the Celestial Yazad, the Yata, the Fravashi, which if you recall comes up during the battles when a good priest is in the battlefield, then the Amesha Spenta and the Greater Deva. So I have recruited one of all of them. Some of these, like the Amesha Spenta and the Greater Deva, I believe there are 6 unique ones, just like the Demon Lords and the Elemental Royalty, so each one has a special power and purpose. But they're very expensive, and in this small map it is very hard to get gems, so I'm not going to recruit all 6. But let's just start with the troops here. That is not the way to do that. Here we go. So here are the Yazads. You get, it looks like 6 of them with a cast. They have awe, they are sacred, they're magical beings, and they fly, and they have storm immunity. So if you want to make summoning these guys a big part of your strategy, you can have the spell Storm cast on the battlefield, or have the Staff of Storms, and nobody else can fly. Arrows can't work for crap, but these guys can do whatever they need to do. And they're rarely ever going to get hit because they have awe. So that's really good. And they have a 16 protection, which is pretty good, but you can even hold them still for a while, cast some protection spells, raise their natural protection above 0, and then they'll have an even higher protection. So not bad. Then you have the Devas. These, I guess, are the evil versions. You can tell they're evil because they have black wings instead of white wings, I guess. Or actually not even white wings, orangey copper wings. So these guys are also sacred, but instead of awe, they have fear, which is not as good, but it does lead to routing enemies, so I guess that's pretty neat. They are demon troops, so you gotta watch out for that. They can be banished away. And they have chaos power, which is pretty much useless in this game, I find. One of these days, I'm sure within a few patches, chaos power will actually be worth having, but until then, right now, it just kind of goes against your purpose. But those are it in terms of national summons of troops. Then you just have commanders. So the first one I want to look at is this gentleman here, a Yazad of Justice. So he is the Summon Yazad spell. 3 fire, 3 astral, sacred, awe, flying, magic. And in the flavor text, you basically get the notion that there's these 2 groups. There's the Yazatas and the Devas, and they're minor gods, or demigods, and they're fighting against each other, and they're just causing a ruckus. So the Pantocrator's like, you know what, you guys, this is my world, or universe, or whatever, and I want things to be calm, and you are just giving me a headache. So he banished them, or she banished them, into, I don't know, the void, or something. But now the Kalem people, and this nation as well, can summon them back. So I think this is just one of many. So this is the Celestial Yazatas, and yeah, I don't think they all look like this guy. This is the one of Justice. Perhaps there are more. Then there's the Ahurani. It's a water mage, priest level 1. It has underwater regeneration, which I think is a really cool new thing I've never seen before. Of course, resistance to pretty much everything. And, ooh, even poison resistance, wow. And it also has recuperation and heals disease, and can also bring 10 human-sized folks down underwater with it. And they're the Yazatas of waters, rains, prosperity, and health. So I actually like these guys a lot. They seem pretty cool. Definitely an opportunity for you to go underwater with this nation if you have somebody with 1 water pick, which is actually pretty easy to get. Then we've seen this gentleman before, the Ancestral Fravashi. This is just the basic summon version of what appears on the battlefield. Ethereal, flying, sacred, awe, excellent scales, can Thunderstrike, can be a Communion Master if you want to, and this is the key part here, 3 Priest, which none of your units that you can recruit have this, except for your Prophet. So for a large game with a lot of thrones, you're definitely going to want a few of these guys. Then, he's just a regular guy. We have the Pyrrhica. Now the Pyrrhica, the flavor text of the unit and the summon are different, so I think they're still working it out, but it's one of the evil devas, and it's a female that seduces, fire, death, blood, and holy, fear, fire resistance. It is a demon unit with chaos power, and it apparently is able to scale walls, which one would imagine that makes sense since they have wings. So this unit can enter and exit hostile castles unseen even when they are completely closed during sieges. So I guess this means if you want to seduce somebody or assassinate somebody who's inside a sieged castle, this is the lady that you want to do that. But you'll notice they're called the Pyrrhica, but if you look at the actual spell itself, it's the Jahi. The Jahi's whores are thought to be the wives of the destructive spirit. They are seducers of men and apostles of Druj, falsehood. The Jahis are sent to lead mortals astray and spread wickedness and evil. So that's the Pyrrhica. So it looks like they're not sure what to call them. They're either Jahis or Pyrrhica. And so I showed you the Devas, I showed you the Ahurani, I showed you the Yazatas, I showed you the Celestial Yazad. So next would be the Yata, or the Yata, or whatever. So that is this fellow. And he is basically the male version of the previous unit I just showed you. Same general paths, no blood, but 3 fire, 3 death, 2 priest only. Fear, demon, chaos power. Frankly, I'd much rather have these ladies and these guys. Not these guys. Where? Oh yeah, these guys. The 3 priest. And finally, you have your big bad Mama Jamma, your Arch Deva, of which I believe there are 6 individual units. They each have their own focus. This is the Spenta of Fire. So you have 5 fire, 3 priest. These guys are incredibly expensive. There's 60 death gems, and on a small map like this, it took me forever and alchemizing to get enough, but you could see why you would want them. They are a powerhouse. Now, in a game where research is difficult, it's going to take you a while to get them because they're all the way down here in level 8. So that's the same time as the elemental royalty for the most part. And they all cost 4 death and 2 fire and 60 death gems. And I guess there are Evil intentions, frozen minds, oppression, discontent, destruction, and aging. And I think the one that I got... Or wait, you know what? I am completely wrong here, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Ashara Spenta. This is the good one. I'm sorry. There's 6 of these good guys, and I'll get to them instead. Same period, 8 of the Conjuration. And there's wisdom... Oh, wait, no. Animals, fire, sky, and metals, earth, water, and plants. So there's 7 of them, I guess. Right? I'm counting 7. Or maybe sky and metals is just one guy. So 6 of them. Alright, fine. So that's what that is. An Amesha Spenta, and I particularly got the one of fire. But there's... You know, the sky and metals one sounds pretty cool. I'd like to see what that one does. The reason I didn't show you the Greater Deva is I moved him out because he's kind of scary. Here he is, Zauri, the Deva of Aging. He spreads death and causes the growth level of the entire province to shrink, so I wanted to get him out of my capital. 5 death, 3 priest. So if you have a ton of gems, a ton of research, and a lot of time on your hands, you could theoretically have 12 level 3 priests running around, all with these amazing skills. Hit points aren't so great, but they have, well, this guy at least has fantastic leadership, much better than anything you can recruit, and he's invulnerable. Now, I'm sure because the developers of this game are very clever, that each of these Ashara Spentas and Arch Devas have very specific, just like the Demon Lords, they probably have very specific effects. So not all of them maybe have fear, not all of them maybe have spread death, and they might all have different things. Some might generate gold, who knows? By all means, load up this nation and experiment and recruit all 6 of them, or check out the mod database on the internet somewhere, but these are your beefiest guys right here. So that's the nation, pretty much. There aren't any other real spells except for, I believe, a few battle evocations that I didn't want to mess with, and they're not under evocation. Maybe they're enchantment, or maybe they're not. Alteration. It's going to be the last one I check. It always is. Thaumaturgy. Parting of the soul with death and air. Armor negating, paralyzed damage, magic resistance negates, and it summons predatory birds. That's kind of interesting. It affects one person with 100% precision and gives a special attack of... Okay, damage increased by 5, but what does it start out with? I don't know. The birds of prey descend from the skies to feast on the flesh of the soul-rent body. So it takes the soul out of the body. That's... oof. Kind of nasty. And then Call of the Drug Vant. To the people of the lie, those under the influence of evil intentions. This is a jerk spell, it looks like. Cast lets loose the will of the destructive spirit upon a remote land. Falsehood, wickedness, and violence will spread in the province, and in its wake, devas will come. Okay, well, yeah. So those are the 2 other spells that are not summons. There is a battlefield spell and a jerk spell. So, from what I've heard on my channel and what I've read in the forums, my initial assessment of this nation was quite wrong. It is powerful if it is used correctly. There are different ways to go about it. There's my way, as you saw, with the neutral temperature scale, so that you can recruit both. But there's also, you can go real heavy, like say to fire, and then simply cast Illwinter on your own province to get that down so you can start recruiting the ice guys. Bear in mind, however, that Illwinter does kill 5% of the population of the province, so you're not going to want to do that on your income farming provinces, definitely, and probably not your capital. You're going to have to find some fort out of the way in a wasteland in the middle of nowhere and cast the spell on that so you're not hurting your overall income. But that's Ragha. So I want to say thank you to everybody who commented on the first video and who gave the strategies that I related at the beginning of this episode. And it's a really neat little nation here. I also want to say once again that this is 3 Kings by Machio, the map. And I had fun with it, although it was correctly stated in the channel that this start position only has 1 border, whereas this one has 2. So it appears that this fellow has an advantage, especially because there's a river running here. So starting on this end definitely nets you an advantage, unless you're defensive easy AI Patala, in which case I just set up a large army here to block this province and stop them quickly. Alright, well thank you so much for watching. Have a good one.